Virtusa Tech Talk, our series dedicated to exploring technology trends that make an impact. I'm Danielle, Head of Marketing Communications at Virtusa, and I'm excited to be joined today by Bob Ruocco, Vice President and CIO at BlueCross BlueShield of Western New York.
Hello, I'm Bob Ruocco, Vice President and Chief Information Officer for BlueCross BlueShield of Western New York. I'm responsible for the vision and execution of the technology strategy for the organization.
And Vaibhav Srivastava, Senior Vice President of Healthcare at Virtusa.
My name is Vaibhav Srivastava, and I lead the healthcare segment for Virtusa. In this role, I am tasked to drive business value for my customers, leveraging the Virtusa tools, technology, and assets. I've been with this role for close to 5 years and have been helping clients deliver healthcare outcomes in their ecosystem.
We're here today to talk about the importance of technology for healthcare payers during COVID-19. We'll hear from our experts on what payers can do better, what are some of the emerging technologies that payers need to capitalize on, and also how important it is to innovate at scale. We'll also explore digital transformation for payers and how they can turn some of their challenges into opportunities. Thanks for joining us today, Bob and Vaibhav.
Thank you.
As we know, healthcare systems are coming under tremendous stress. Bob, what can payers do to drive innovation in today's market condition?
Yeah, from a member provider perspective, organizations really need to understand what it is their customers want and need. Too often, companies they move towards innovation that they think their clients and customers are looking for, when in reality, it's really not what the customer was expecting. This often leads to not only missed opportunities but customer frustrations. Additionally, I would say healthcare payers really need to look outside of their own industries and towards future thinking companies and industries who are born digital. This perspective, I think, will really help them align to consumer expectations.
Yes, and from the vantage point where we are seeing many customers, right, we really feel there are, I would say, three key areas where the payers are really innovating or need to innovate. One is obviously around digital engagement, as Bob mentioned, right? Bringing in the right member and provider experience and engaging their customers. Second is sharing of the data, which is the interoperability, which is being looked upon. And the third area of innovation that has to be driven is enabling and embracing telehealth. Now, let's talk a little bit in detail about these three. So, if you look at digital engagement, it is important for the payers to create a digital front door experience for its customers with the advent of this COVID. Imagine pre-COVID era, the members were given experience that was very personal. We need to continue to give that similar experience post-COVID era. So that digital engagement is extremely important. Now, when we talk about interoperability and data sharing, HHS mandate looms large for all the payers. Now it's an opportunity for the payers to use that mandate to really create an impact and create improvement in their population health. With the sharing of the data and with the availability of FHIR APIs, with the availability of social determination of health data, all the payers can innovate and really drive a lot of improvement under the purview of this HHS mandate. And last but not the least, embracing telehealth. If you look at the data for the month of April, the reports very clearly suggest that there is already 8,000% increase in the claims for telehealth. What that really means is CMS was able to drive all the approvals and able to kind of embrace that. Now, there will be payers who use telehealth and there are the payers who will use telehealth, but it is important for both of them to bring in that innovation so that they can service this whole ecosystem of providers, members, and payers together. So those would be the three key areas that I would feel where the innovation is needed to create that digital experience.
Absolutely. And technology utilization plays a huge role in all this as well. Vaibhav, what are some of the changes you see or foresee in technology utilization by payers?
Very good question, Daniel. And if you look at it, and I'm sure Bob would also agree, is cloud and AI is making a major play in this ecosystem now. And let's talk about the scenarios of how this cloud and AI is making a play. Originally, cloud was looked as a way to reduce the total cost of ownership, but it's not now in this case. Now, all the organizations are looking as a way to transform their ecosystem, as well as to bring in all the data together so that proper usage of that data can be attained. So we are seeing a tremendous adoption of cloud by bringing all this ecosystem together, by bringing all this data together and feed it to the processors. The second area we are seeing a lot of benefit or the adoption is artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence is being adopted not just as an individual silo, but integrated with the workflow. Now everybody is looking towards building the smart workflows, building in the smart automated systems that can thrive off the data that was collected by the cloud and the process insights that could be generated through artificial intelligence. This ecosystem of having the right workflows, having the right data, having the right insights driven through AI is going to solve the business problems. So with this, if you see, there are very key adoptions around cloud, AI, and existence of the process technologies.
Bob, does this pandemic drastically accelerate the adoption of digital strategies, telehealth, data interoperability, care management across the healthcare ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. I think many organizations, or the ones that were lucky enough to have telehealth in place before the pandemic, found telehealth to be a great tool towards their members to timely be able to service their customer base where the members were in a nice, safe location. I think as the pandemic continued to go forward, many were really scurrying to stand up telehealth platforms. Some were piecemealed, some were through partnerships. But as those plans did stand them up, they really started benefiting. And at the end of the day, it's really the consumer that benefits in the end. So I think definitely the pandemic has driven us to adopt far more digital tools. If you think about collaboration tools like we're using now to record this session. Prior to that, many organizations did not make use of video collaboration, and now it's really the lifeline of all the organizations that have high 90% of their staff working in the safety of their own homes. So definitely the pandemic has really forced us on the short term to adopt platforms and tools. And from an interoperability perspective, I think it will help really drive the adoption there because as interoperability comes into play, it really increases the real time sharing of data that we can all use to leverage to focus on consumers' health and well being.
And we also know that member satisfaction and engagement is crucial. So, Bob, can you talk through a few strategies on improvements that could be made here?
Sure. In line with my earlier response, Danielle, consumers are feeling frustrated because they've preconceived expectations on what the consumer experience should really look like based on their day to day and people they interact with. Take your own bank, for instance. I know I can do all my banking on any of my mobile devices whenever I want on my terms and my preferences. I can do anything I need, where I want, and how I want. What I really like is my bank has a virtual assistant, which quickly anticipates everything I want to do. They really brought AI into the fold, as well as natural language processing, and it just makes such a seamless integration. And my experience is one that I really enjoy. I can't say that for every person I interact with, and I know healthcare has been late to the table to get to some of those really advanced technologies into the hands of the consumers. So I would say it's definitely a great place to start.
Great. Thank you, Bob. And I have one last question for you guys. I'm sure there's a few immediate steps that payers can take now to accelerate digital transformation, especially during uncertainty. So, Vaibhav, can you talk a little bit about that?
So, in my mind, if I lay down those immediate steps, I would say there are three key steps, right? One is while everybody wants to get back to normal, right? But I think it's time for all the payers, providers, and this healthcare ecosystem to actually adapt or adopt or adapt this particular new normal, right? That's the first key step. Now, what it has done is, if you look at COVID has helped drive a lot of momentum and innovation over the period of last 5 months. The payers are in a position where they can drive the industry to actually continue onto that momentum. Take an example of telehealth. Telehealth has been in the systems for 10 months, 10 years. For 10 years, it was never adopted at that scale. And now, if you look at the data, all the organizations brought their guard down, brought a clear demarcation, removed the demarcation of boundaries, and using that, we are able to actually adopt telehealth now, and telehealth is now here to stay. That's the second thing, is to kind of continue driving the momentum of what we fed off out of COVID. And last but not the least, the key immediate step is to do that digital front door, the digital experience that Bob also talked about, to continue having that journey move forward, because that's going to make all the members and the providers not go back to the original and back to original normal, which is going to be difficult to attain. So keeping that momentum carry forward is going to make sure that we are striving towards this new normal.
Yeah, Daniel, I would really, stress, speak to your consumers, understand their wants and needs to better align to their expectations. Your organization's ability to deliver upon your customers' expectations should be first to mind. And then I think you really have to upskill your team with the right skills, and outfit them with the best tools necessary to successfully take on the challenges of your digital transformation. And last but not least, I think we all need to jumpstart our digital journeys, and you need to really acquire and partner with the right uh, team that's already been there, that they have deep digital experience, and I think they can really the right partner can really help expedite your journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for your time today, Bob and Vaibhav. We look forward to having you on our Tech Talk series again. And thank you everyone for joining us for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and visit our website at virtusa.com. Stay safe.